Welcome to Mental Health Monday. The camera is about to die. 10 years ago yesterday, Hoss and I put our dad into the ground. For that occasion, I dug up a letter that my old man had written us, and I was going to read it to you. I don't think I can read it in its entirety to you. He's been gone for a long time. It's kind of phenomenal that he's been gone 10 years. My dad wrote this letter to my brother and I while he was riddled with cancer. I don't read it all that often. It's hard to read it. And it highlights the frustrations that we had with him as kids, that we didn't particularly like him. I'm very lucky that I got to spend some time with him to get to know him, because when I was a teenager, I didn't like him. And I think that's something that happens with a lot of young men and their fathers. And my dad was an exceptionally pragmatic, serious man who never afforded himself any fun. And he could never relax because he was so focused on securing income, securing job. My dad was very establishment thinking. You go to school, you get good grades, you go to university to get a good job, and then you're golden. And if I could only get one thing across to my dad that I've at least started to internalize, there's no such thing as security. And so striving for security is a little bit dumb. It's probably one of the biggest places that I differ from him. I think the only thing we can be certain of in this life, other than death, is uncertainty. And so striving for security doesn't mean don't plan. He talks about planning in this. I'll read a bit of it. To my boys, I love you more than you can imagine, even when you doubt it. My focus is and has always been on your security, safety, and well-being. Health, time, and money that goes does not come back. Permanence is not in the nature of time. He epitomized that Asian parenting meme. Planning, that's a biggie. Failing to plan is planning to fail. For planning, the task has to be defined as accurately as possible. It should be subdivided into little entities, and an estimate of time required to complete them with checkpoints to make sure that you are on target, and if necessary, adjust the plan. Learn from your mistakes and those of others, and save yourself a painful repeat of outcome. Waste not your health, time, and money. They are your primary tools on your way to wherever you want to be. Derive joy from achieving your checkpoints along the way to help you keep going. It is your inner drive that will get you there. Perseverance and endurance are very useful attributes. Quitting is not, and trying to justify quitting is even worse. I grew up seeking the approval of my dad, seeking the approval of my teachers, and it's taken a lot of work, and I'd say I'm still working on it, to really find that self-satisfaction, to be able to self-motivate, to be able to do things because you think they're worthy. Doesn't matter what other people think. I'm not sure if it's actually entirely tenable, because man is a social creature. What you do and what you don't do have consequences that go beyond what you see at the time. At the point of origin, all routes are close. After you choose one route, destinations are wide apart. So choose wisely. My dad was an incredibly intelligent human being who was wise and not particularly good at practicing what he preached. He also wasn't a particularly happy person. One of the reasons I started Mad Arab was I watched that man focus so much on the security of his family and his loved ones that he never focused on looking after himself. He was so focused on making sure that we would be okay when he was dead. He didn't think that maybe we wanted to have him more than what he could accrue. Unfortunately, part of the male psyche and the way that males are brought up, or at least used to be brought up, is that they are inherently self-sacrificing. Or at least the good men are. And I simply wanted to just bring a little bit of balance into the world by keeping that virtue of being self-sacrificing and willing to stand up against the harsh realities of life and take the brunt of the world on behalf of those you care about, but also reminding men out there, the dads, the leaders of their tribes, to spare some time to look after themselves so they can be there for their tribe longer and ideally happier I will say this like I did around Father's Day. Cherish your dad. In this world, fathers especially, are woefully underappreciated. The sacrifices that parents make are understated, but more so dads. I don't mean to be sexist or sound sexist when I say that, but society doesn't care about men the way that they care about women. And if that upsets you, you're probably a chick. My dad was a doctor. My dad was my hero. He's still my hero, and I'm under no assumptions that he wasn't his own flawed human being. It says on his gravestone, "Now what?" But our unspoken motto between the two of us whenever I complained about his parenting style or the way that he lived his life is that he would look at me dead in the eye and say, "Do better." And so I strive to, in my own weird way. The biggest thing that's currently really relevant in this letter, what you put in your mouth is totally under your control. Changing my diet has really impacted how I show up every day. What you eat is assimilated by your stomach. It is information. It is building material for your body. So if you put crap into your body, you get crap. I was overweight. He wasn't overweight. He barely ate. He may have been slimmer, but jeepers, man, you died at 49. Time is a precious resource, and he instilled that in me in his life and in his death. Goals should be achievable, or else they are fantasies. Life is about reality, not fantasy. Endeavor not to acquire enemies, but if you do, in brackets, inevitable, don't let them get you down, and don't let their presence distract you from your goals. And thank you for affording me the courtesy of listening and hopefully getting something out of it. Sharing just a little bit of this letter. And I wish he'd recorded it because I miss my dad's voice. So if you're dying and want to leave something for your kids, write them a letter, but also record them a CD or a video. I honestly couldn't remember half of this stuff. I didn't read it when he first gave it to me. I couldn't. There's just so much pain and it was so raw. And to read it now, just sort of going, so much of this is stuff that I had to learn after, even though you told me. You can give someone the information, but until they internalize that knowledge and understand it, it may as well just be an unread book on a shelf. I might take next week off. See you next year. Or next week. I don't know.